Royal State of Emergency Introduction at July the 8th, 2024. Written by Queen Chrysolite Owens, also known as Valerie Venice Preston. We all have a royal state of truth that we must face one day. Quite clearly, the royal state of truth is our life record. The way we live our lives each day is being recorded by a powerful royal head of state. Every breath we take, every step we take, every word, thought that we say and think, even our emotions are being recorded. Everything that we do publicly and privately is being recorded. Our occupations, jobs, finances, affiliations, relationships, deeds is being compiled into our exclusive record by the most powerful royal head of state of the whole universe. One day, each of us who ever lived on this earth and other beings will face our life record on the royal appointed day by the most powerful royal head of state. This book is dedicated to our one and only Savior, Jesus Christ. Also, a big clap up to all of the supporter heroes that stood on a brave stand for all of us. All of God's real prophets will be greatly honored by God for your courageous revealing of truth for all of us. Humbly thank God and all of you. Royal State of Emergency Introduction Synthesis. In this book of affairs, you will be made aware of important, serious situations that will affect us directly or indirectly. Although we may be tied with cords from cloaked powers of law, we must unite together with new laws that will dispensate or dissipate these cloaked powers of law. Here are some of the syntheses of occurrences that has happened over 2 decades and a half. You will learn how twisted, obsessed monsoons in our government, as well as a business person, is and was over 2 courses and a half of time. This book is quite simply outlined into 25 and a half short chapters of real life occurrences that has happened and that is continuing to happen to Queen Chrysolite Valerie Owens, also known as Valerie Venice Preston. Royal State of Emergency Introduction Synthesis. Quick short review of synthesis. 1. Cops paid to put surveillance bugs on vehicles. 2. Businessman and city illegal broadcasting. 3. Deroged government regime. 4. The illegal soap opera. 5. Worldwide media payhouse. 6. Hush money to act. 7. Calabros receives kickbacks. 8. Gaslit hoodwinks. 9. Dallas dark witch regime. 10. Businesses stalled, shut down. 11. Secret financial gains. 12. Switch fits. Disclaimer. I will attest under God Almighty Jesus Christ that the statements, experiences, journeys, etc. are accurate and true. This is also intended under my life record, which is held within God's divine record vault. Even God's prophets has a witnessment to these historical events and experiences that are mentioned herein. While I was given permission by God to name names in this book, I will be upholding the following legal measurement counteractives. 1. Alleged synthesis is of facts. 2. Discovery of facts by secret messengers of facts. And there will be much more at the latter end. While holding on that note, these are essential terms of use. Allegation of facts, secret reports of facts, allegation of burden of proof, secret messages of facts. Chapter 1. Type of the year 1998. Number 1. Left Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers at October of that year of 1998. 2. Started work at Burger King. Number 3. Boss man ordered a surveillance bug on my bicycle. 4. Illegal Steve Winwood commercial. 5. The secret citywide broadcasts. 6. Boss people recommended promotions and rewards. 7. Pen palled man in prison. So I will elaborate a little bit on these, but I will still be holding to the facts written herein. Okay, I left Wendy's that year, and this is in October of 1998, and that's Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, just like I've just read off of the bullet points of these facts. I went to Burger King to work, and the owner of this Burger King that I worked, his name is Brian Bond, Almost Famous and Company. That's what his I don't know if it's his corporation, but that's his his legal business name for his, I guess, all of his businesses. But I started to work there in that year of October 1998, and I was told by Max Lotwood and a lot of other secret messengers that Brian Bond, the owner of the Burger King, he had these payroll cops of Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County. He paid them to put this bug on my bicycle because he thought that I was a spy for Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers. That was a franchisee of owner by the name of Mr. Stafford, and he thought that I was spying on him. And it was also told that that was his way of keeping up with people that he suspected that were, telling his trademark secrets or something. He put bugs on nearly all of his employees' vehicles, whether they're cars, trucks, or bicycles, whatever. But he would, if he felt that they were a threat to his business, he put a bug on their vehicle. So we're going to try to keep to the facts on this right here. So in this year, this is about the end of the year of 1998, in the fall of that year. I'm going to try to elaborate, but keep within the scope of what I've just read off of these bullet points right here, or these arch points. I want y'all to keep in mind that the Steve Winwood commercial that Brian Vaughn did, he did not go into any type of contract or agreement with me. He did not get my consent. He did this illegally against my will. He made all this money, and he had everybody believing that he paid me money to do that commercial, that he was paying me money. No, he was not. He did not compensate me at all. Okay? And I don't want to get ahead in the, according to my arch points on here. But when we get to that point, then I will be discussing more about the illegal Steve Winwood commercial that he did with my name in it, is what I'm saying. Okay, he did a commercial, and it was publicized everywhere, and especially 2 cities. He also was a anchorman for a local radio station. Him and a co-anchor. I don't really know his name, but it's more essential of him because he's the one that illegally done the Steve Winwood commercial. So now this bullet point or arch point 5, the secret citywide broadcast, he also did that as well. Him and these cops within Douglas, Georgia. The whole city was thinking that he had paid me to do this, to record me in my private home. We're outside of work. My bicycle was being broadcast. The bug on that bicycle was being broadcast like this for the longest I was working with Brian and beyond. Okay? They kept that going. And then that was John Sweat and Rob Smith. It was another sheriff, Carlton Evans. Okay, he's now deceased, but after him, John Sweat, which was the chief of police, and Rob Smith was the sheriff at that time. Okay, Max Lotwood was the mayor in the city at that time. So some of this stuff, some of the facts, the secret facts about how this really got started. Okay, how this really got started was with Brian Vaughn and those crookeded cops, payroll cops of his, or friends, pals, or whatever. But that's how all of this initially got started. Okay, and I'm going to talk about the secret the secret citywide broadcast that has now become worldwide via CNN and other media outlets. But it started as a citywide in Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County, and it was done illegally. And everybody was thinking that I was okay with it. That me and Brian had a deal. We made a deal or a contract. No, we did not. I did not give him permission to broadcast me talking and my private life out. Okay? everywhere. And so, you know, things that you talk about secretly, and even your finances and all of that. You know, me being a minority or colored woman or woman of color and living in the South and having that done, having my finances and things that I can do or I'm going to do publicized all over the city, okay, that caused me to have secret enemies, caused me to have all kind of problems breaking off in my life. And it all got started with that. Okay. Okay, now I want to talk about the Arch Point 6 with the Boss People recommended promotions and rewards. I had 2 managers that was so, how should I say, awestruck and just thought that I was just a wonderful, awesomatic person with customer service, to the point where they had recommended to Brian Bond, the owner of the Burger King, that I get promoted to customer service specialist, and also that I be rewarded, and which I was. They had a reward program, and the people, the customers, would always, you know, choose me because I was one of the great customer service specialists at that time. And so I kept receiving that recognition, you know, for about a month or 6 weeks, to the point where these 2 supervisors recommended this promotion. One of them, but then we also, the Arch Point 7, the pen pal man in prison was Charles Blazingame. He's the man that I pen paled in prison. And because he got my name off a Christian directory. And at that time, I think I was about 25 or 26. And I wanted to, you know, get married, settle down, and have children. A couple of children. 1 or 2 kids at that time. So I put my name out. I had people praying in my church, you know, that I find a saved Christian husband, a godly man of God, as my partner. So I also got a Christian directory. You know, that's before the internet really became popular. You know, it was like more like a mail order, like you get it out of a newspaper or magazine somewhere. Maybe I ran across it, you know, like you look in the classified part of the magazine or something, and then you see the pen pal stuff, you know, like love letters, like love section or something, like, you know. And that's at that time that the pen pal thing was popular, before the internet. Okay, so he got my name. I ordered this Christian directory, and Charles Blazingame's name was in there, and he alleged that he was, you know, changed his life for God, and that he was in prison for something, you know, sort of minor. But later we found out this man was a monster, okay? A real monster. And we found out these are facts, okay? He has a secret record, a secret file. He was a lieutenant deputy sheriff and somewhere in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's Covington, Georgia, Newton County. And he worked for a sheriff, okay? And he did a whole lot of shady stuff that I'm not going to name everything he done, but we do know that he killed a little girl, some girl, and buried her body somewhere in the North Georgia mountains, something like that. That's later. We found that out. And that was done through a friend of a friend that was very worried that they may try to, tell a lot of lies on me, and which they did eventually. But we will get to that in the future chapters. I'm not going to really elaborate on that until we get to the year 2000 or maybe 2001, and then I'll go into that. But right now, these are the arch points of fact about what I just read earlier. This is in this chapter for the faculties, for this year. Faculties. Also, while we're on that point, to the timeline, this will be the timeline of 1998 as well. I've just read some of the arch points on here. I also worked at Taco Bell during that year, Takala & Company. Okay, so I worked 2 jobs. And of course, my income improved working these 2 jobs. And I began to save a lot more income. And just like I had acknowledged that I had began a pen pal relationship with a prison inmate based off of the fact that he had professed that he had changed his life for Christ, and that, he was hoping to get out of prison. And the way he told me through the letters that, he changed his life, and then he said, I will get to why I'm in here, why they locked me up. But he didn't. He lied. Okay, that's y'all want to know. He basically lied in all the pen pal letters. Okay, his age, everything. And he was part of a secret society as well. I just make sure I put that on the record. He was part of a secret society. Okay. And yes, I became very popular at both Taco Bell and Burger King. Okay, because of customer service was a number one thing. Going above and beyond for the customer, and also delivering great quality valued food as well as service, making sure that the customers were happy with their order, with their food and drink. And the managers were very impressed with me and the owner. But really, the truth be told, Brian Vaughn never really wanted me to work at Burger King, because he didn't trust me, because he thought I was a spy for Mr. Stafford, that owned the franchisee of Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers, Dave Thomas. He thought I was spying on him, and I was running back telling his trademark secrets to Mr. Stafford. No. Okay? He did that. Brian Vaughn put bugs on his other employees' vehicles. It is also was alleged that he put bugs on Corinthia's car. All of them. Okay? Most of all of his employees that he didn't trust, or he was just nosy maybe, and he wanted to know how they secretly felt, or whatever it is, but he had their vehicles bugged, maybe even their home. Because here's the thing, Brian Vaughn was, and maybe still is, part of a secret government, maybe I should say regime, with whichever way, he's part of a secret society, a secret government regime. Okay? A secret government regime, a secret, it doesn't matter. I say the name. I've just been told that secretly told that Brian Vaughn was and is part of some type of secret society, secret government regime. Okay? Now, and he felt comfortable, as we all seeing this stuff unfolding, that Brian was comfortable to do all this stuff, and he felt confident in doing it because he had all these connections, all of these people, secret friends and people supporting him, even politically. These are facts on Brian Vaughn. Okay? And also these arch points that I want to make is that I also lived in a mobile home park at that time. And I believe it was called the Carver's Trailer Home Park. Okay? And it was, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was Bowens Mill Highway, Douglas, Georgia. Now they have tore it down. Okay? And they've done build some businesses or warehouses on it. It's tore down. So it's not there anymore. I think Mr. Street owned it. His name was Mr. Street or something like that. He owned the trailer park, and they said that he had cancer and he just went on ahead and sold it off. Okay, this is like a speculation up into a conclusive facts. We believe that there were select members of a network within the council of the city of Douglas, Georgia, that granted the permission of certain police officials that were on the payroll of Brian Vaughn, owner of 2 Burger Kings and Almost Famous and Company, to broadcast the live spy recordings of me through a citywide radio speaker system. Also, at this time, we have reason to believe that our home and other job were put under secret surveillance. Okay? This is the extremes that Brian Vaughn would go through if he thought. And he had the support of secret powerful people as well. So, all of this stuff is what happened in the year of 1998. And I want to talk about my money, because that was the very reason why these people had framed me the way in which they did, was because of a lot of reasons. Is that Brian Vaughn, first of all, according to the arch points I read earlier for this chapter, first of all, Brian Bond did not make a contract with me. I'm letting everybody know that. My family, everybody know that, especially in that city. Brian Bond never made a contract with me. He never made a deal with me. Okay? He assumed because I'm a colored woman, I'm from the South, okay, that he can do whatever he wants because he's got what? Powerful friends, you know, local, federal, and even in the Congress. And because of his affiliation and his membership with the secret societies, okay, he felt that he had power over me and everybody else, and he could do whatever he want. He could be above the law and probably even above God if he wanted to. That he could do whatever he want, and anybody get in his way, he'll destroy their life or have their life destroyed. Okay, he had great supporters, friends, people, like I said, in the federal level, even in the Congress. Okay, maybe even CNN, because after all, he was a radio personality. Those are facts. Can look them up. I have no reason to make up unsavory truths on people. I have no reason, nothing to gain from it. But that's what he did. Okay, I never gave him permission to do no Steve Winwood commercial. Never gave him permission to broadcast my private life with me talking, okay, privately, because I remember talking about when I got paid, my paycheck, what I got paid, I'm going to take my paycheck, because I work 2 jobs. I'm going to get a U.S. saving bonds. I'm going to buy maybe $500. I'm going to buy, next week, I'm going to buy $500 more when I get my other check. I may buy $300 worth. Okay? So I have to say that. So that way, legal analysts that reads or listen to this book, they will know how I obtained my money the legal right bootstrap way. Okay, so I was saying those things in private, or I thought I was. Now, and my bicycle was secretly recorded, and that's broadcast everywhere. And so the wrong ears hear it, and you know me being a colored woman, that's a big deal. Okay, so that's going to cause me to be in harm's way in a lot of different ways, and it's going to cause me to have secret enemies. Okay, they knew this, but they didn't care. Okay, and they broadcast this stuff out knowing. Okay, they felt that and Brian Bond also, definitely Brian Bond, he felt that he could use white privilege. He could use white privilege to get away with it. Because why would he do this? Okay? He felt that he could get away with it. That's why he done it, because he had all these people supporting him. Okay? Just don't, and keep in mind, secret society, radio personality. Okay? He got friends, connections, and different everywhere. Federal level, media, CNN. Now, Max Lockwood was the mayor at that time. Okay? And he didn't care. He was known for bragging about stuff. He was part of it. He was part of that. He was part of it. Oh, yeah. Next Lockwood, the mayor of the city of Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County. Now, he is one of the ones that got the message to me about Brian Bond putting the bug on my bicycle, and the cops. John Sweat was the chief of police, and the cops, okay? Cops and Rob Smith, okay? I had a supervisor. She had a brother that worked for Rob Smith, okay? Now, they did all this stuff right here, everything. The illegality of broadcasting my personal life all over that city. Now, this was before, I want to make this perfectly clear, this was before I wrote Charles Blasingame in December of 1998. I worked with Brian for 2 months before that. That is a window of time of all this stuff that done went down. Okay? So now you can see how when we get to that point, or we get to that chapter and that timeline of 2000 and 2001, that is when John Sweat and Rob Smith cops framed all this craziness, all of these lies. They spin it together with a network of other officials, government officials, like the federal, like the GBI and the federal, okay? And then you got this secret federal government regime group that is funded by the Criminal Justice Department. That's what we're told, okay? And it's supposed to be secret, and we'll get to that. We want to stay in the course of this timeline, 1998, because this is a very critical year, that how all this really got started. That's what I want y'all to understand. The window of time before I wrote Charles Blasingame, the pen pal him in prison. I did not pen pal him until sometime the middle of that year, the middle of December 1998, somewhere in the middle of that month is what I'm saying. Okay, and I worked for Brian. I started working for him in October of 1998. Okay, that's when I started working for Brian Bond. And all of this stuff that he did, you know, without my consent. I mean, he put the bug, and we did not know, I did not know that he did none of this. Okay, but I did hear, I will say this, I did hear some of my supervisors discussing it in the lobby of Burger King. Okay, they were discussing it, and I heard them talking. It was very concerned. I may not say her name out loud. She went by, her name goes by L. That's the first. I may not say her name, okay, for a lot of reasons. For a lot of reasons. But it was her and some other ones were discussing it in the lobby, and they were talking about how wrong it was. It's just not right. It's not right. You know? And they didn't know I was in the lobby, because this was an elaborate lobby, and some of the Burger Kings, the owners have these elaborate type. And Brian had his Burger King, you know, custom made that way. It was elaborate, like you would think you was going to a fancy restaurant, and that's the way he had it on the inside. Okay, so I was behind some of them plants that was in there, and my supervisors didn't see me. They didn't know I was out there. I had went on my break, and they probably had just maybe come from the bank or something like that, and it was like in the afternoon, and they were talking. So I was able to hear that. So these are, like I told y'all earlier, these are, and I'm going to use these terms throughout this book, allegation of facts. And it's also allegation of burden of proof and secret reports. We have people that actually know, and they also have physical proof that Brian really did do all that stuff. Brian Bond and those crooked government officials. Okay? They're also from a secret society, secret government regime, whatever you want to call it. But it is still a type of organized crime, no matter how you want to look at it. And this is why this year is very important. I may be on this for an hour for this book right here that I am going to talk about the facts of the alleged facts of this how we're here today. 25 years, y'all. 25 years. And because of what Brian Bond did and those crooked cops in the city of Douglas, now you have this thing. It's huge. It's at the federal level. It was always really at the federal level. Really. When you look at the groups and things they were part of. This is a real conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. It's a real conspiracy. A real conspiracy of facts. Because these people does nothing by accident. They have you checked out all the way thoroughly, even spiritually. Okay? To know if you are a good person, or if you are a person of character, a good person of character, or you're just some, I don't know, bum-o-natic person on the street. Okay? They had me checked out. Okay? Even spiritually. So they knew that I was a upright person with God. Okay? And that I was very abundant. They knew that. They knew that, y'all. These people is not going to just pick some random colored woman and just go doing all this stuff that they done. And there have been allegation of facts that family members, my blood family members, were involved. A few of them. We don't know names, but the pipeline of facts, okay, by what you call notoriety people, and God don't lie. Okay? And you also have collaborating witnesses. You know, I'm not going to name their names, okay, for safety reasons. Okay? But some of them are still alive today. Some of them still alive that can attest to what I'm talking about in the timeline of 1998. Okay? Now, a lot of people have wondered how and why. How did this really get started? You know? This is not really about Charles Blazengow, the pen pal thing. Everybody think it is, but it's not. This is really about a lot of other things in which y'all will find out as this book progresses. I'm not going to tell everything. We're just focusing on 1998, how this stuff got started. And some of y'all were asking me at some point in time about Taco Bell. Well, Taco Bell at this time, I'm going to tell y'all, if I put my bicycle inside of Taco Bell, if I did, because I rode my bicycle a lot in my 20s, so it's possible that I put my bicycle inside. If I did, then they were secretly recording what we were talking about in Taco Bell. But, you know, it wasn't nothing to really be upset about, because it's business, okay? I'm a businesswoman, and even in the 90s, okay, when I'm working, I work, okay? I barely do a lot of talking. It's mostly discussing, you know, business at work, you know. That's about it. There might have been some other private things maybe was told, but nobody really knew right away that Brian was doing that, okay? But at some point in time, when they broadcast it all over the city, yeah, they knew then. They're like, wow, you know. But it was done in such a way. It wasn't done like in a negative way all the time, okay? It was very insidious, okay? They didn't come out and just be all brutal and sound like they're doing now. At that time, no, they was not being very negative, okay? But they were still at the same time broadcasting me talking without my consent. And this, we're talking long before we wrote Brian Vaughn. I mean, pardon me, y'all, before we wrote Charles Blazingham, okay? This was before then. So the reason why I'm staying on this timeline, on timeline 1998, is because I want everyone to grasp, you know, the facts of how this really got started. And I want everybody to know that lived in that city, Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County. No, I did not give Brian Vaughn no consent. I did not make no kind of deal with Brian. I did not do a contract with him for him to do that Steve Winwood commercial. And I did not give him no permission for him and those cops to put no bug on my bicycle. I did not know that he put the bug on the bicycle until Max Lotwood got the message to me in 2003, and that timeline is coming up, okay? That's when, after all hell broke loose on this situation, is when I knew a lot of stuff that Brian had secretly done. I started knowing exactly that he is a monster. Okay? Now, I heard people talking. Like I said before, I hang out in the lobby at Burger King on my break sometimes, you know, behind them plants, and I hear a lot of stuff. And I heard one of my supervisors tell another co-worker not to get on Brian's bad side, because if she did, he could destroy her life. And she was like begging her not to do that. Okay? Most of it is because of what Brian Vaughn and those crooked cops were secretly doing to me and others. Okay? Put bugs on our vehicles without our knowledge and broadcasting it. Okay? They did that. And I know some of y'all saying they may have the warrant, but you have to have probable cause. I was an upright person then. I didn't have no criminal record. Okay? I was saved, just like I'm saved now. I was saved then. I went to church. I did what God told me to do. I worked, got my money the right way. I want to make sure I emphasize that. I saved more than I spend at that time. And I made sure I may have to elaborate on the money part so that y'all can understand. At that time, I saved a lot of money because I worked 2 jobs. I worked there at Burger King and Taco Bell at the time in 1998. In this timeline, I did. And I saved a lot of money, and I started investing in U.S. saving bonds. That was my favorite investment. And every time I get my paycheck, that's what I would do. I think it was that year that I started saving. I started buying U.S. saving bonds. It was either that year or the year 2000. But it was one of those years I started put my money in saving bonds. And I had a safe deposit box at the bank. And because I lived in that trailer park, it was a safety issue. Okay? Because people knew that I worked 2 jobs. And they didn't see no fancy cars and things, and me wearing fancy clothes, shoes. So they knew that, and they knew I was an upright person. I love God. Okay, I was of a great character, a customer service specialist. So they knew that somewhere that money got to be going somewhere. So they were right. I saved a lot of my money. And thanks to Brian Bond and those crooked cops and government officials broadcasting me talking, they pretty much well knew that I was putting that money in those U.S. saving bonds. Okay, this is very critical to understand this timeline right here, in order to understand all the stuff is fixing to come out when in this rest of this book. Then you're going to understand what I'm talking about. You're going to see it all unfold. Okay, so that's all I may be having for this timeline, for timeline 98. I don't see nothing else that I have on here. So I think that's going to be it. But the main part I want everybody to understand about my money is that nobody gave me no drug money, alleged by Brian Bond's cop friends, that they elaborated with Newton County. This detective, tall detective that wear glasses, that worked at Newton County, probably where Charles Blazingham was that crooked cop or lieutenant deputy sheriff or whatever. But no, Brian Bond, Charles Blazingham did not give me no drug money. He had no way of giving me drug money for 2 reasons. Because Brian Bond and the crooked cops had my bicycle bugged, okay, from 1998 to 2000 and beyond, especially during that timeline. There was no way that this man is going to get out of Whiteville, Tennessee maximum security prison and come all the way to Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County, without being on John Sweat and Rob Smith radar. Okay? There is no way. Now, they may have not been watching me like they're watching me now, but they were still keeping tabs on me. They could still hear. They might have secretly bugged my my trailer. We don't know everything, but we do know enough on the timeline 1998 of those essential facts that I just read off of the these arch points right here. So I just want y'all to know that I got my money honest. I work for that money. Just like y'all seeing me doing now, that's what I did back in the 90s. I worked my butt off. Okay, nobody gave me nothing. Everything I own, I had to work for the sweat of my brows, if you want to say that. Bootstrap up. Okay, so I just want y'all to know that. And all of y'all that have stood with me, thank you very much. And that's even in the government, because, and I want y'all to know this, that we still have good people in our government. Not all of them is bad, and I still have a window of hope in that direction. And I just want to say that. Thank all of y'all for y'all's support through the years. And y'all's efforts will be rewarded one day. And that's for all of, not just the good people in government and all levels, but also for my supporters that I don't know about. Thank y'all as well. Okay. Your efforts will be greatly rewarded by God Almighty one day. And so I'm thinking right now, before I close out for the timeline of 1998, for this chapter, I think that's about it, because when we got started with Brian, that was like, that's October of 1998. So that was a short, this is a short, really a short chapter, but I really wanted to elaborate and make things clear about the money part and all of that, what happened with Brian. There's some more secret things that we don't know about quite yet, and the ones that hear this book or read it, when the time comes, y'all come on out and don't be afraid to speak the truth, because for some of y'all it may be an eternal life thing. Okay, it may keep you out of heaven if you don't come forward with these facts. Okay, and that's just for y'all, know who y'all are. Okay, some of them is my family, blood family members. You know, one is about one or two of them was served in the city of Douglas at that time, and they know some facts, some key things they know about. And it's good for you to, if you know, if you can't say it, then you leave it where somebody else can speak on your behalf in case something happens to you. If you do that, then God will still honor that. But you have to get that stuff out there, because keeping these facts closed up is not a good thing, and God is not pleased. Because that's how these people get away with this stuff, is because they want people to keep it secret, and they want people to lie about it. They want people to gaslight us and make us think we're just making stuff up and telling lies, and we're just some crazy people out here. But these are facts. Okay, so in order to stop these attacks and to get these peoples off of our backs, we must always report the facts. Okay, so it's just the way it is, y'all. We got to be honest and tell the truth, and that's what I've been telling in this chapter. Okay, I'm gonna have to sign off for the timeline of 1998.